You're listening to Frankly Speaking Sports with Larry Frank on Northeast Streaming Sports.
He has an agreement in principle to join the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as their new quarterback.
This was a very smart and, for me, unexpected move from Brady.
Brady and Breeze play twice a year. My gosh.
Now to growing concerns about the deadly coronavirus officially hitting the U.S. Here's what we know.
We try to provide you a distraction from it, but there will be overlap between COVID-19 and the National Football League.
Whoever stays healthiest and safest this year, that is who wins.
I think that they are a playoff team. I think it's a wild card situation. I don't know if they can go from a wild card spot to the Super Bowl.
The Saints are favored. The Saints have won it 3 years in a row, and the Saints may be the best team in the NFC.
I still believe in Bruce Arians, and I think they have the pieces to be an awfully good football team. He's got it for the touchdown. Rojo up the gut. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. And down he goes. Aaron Rodgers gets sacked again. Devin White. You guys got a good team? Yeah, you too. See, baby.
So Tampa has now lost 2 in a row.
The Buccaneers are the story, Rex, as they continue to struggle.
They're running out of road here. They've got to get it figured out.
Nobody bounces back like Brady. You look at the number, he has a 787 winning percentage immediately following an in-season loss.
And for the first time in 13 years, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are headed to the NFL playoffs.
Intercepted to the 42-yard line.
Look out from behind. He gets brought down.
Fumble, touchdown, Tampa Bay.
2nd and 9 now. This one's picked. Intercepted by the Bucs. This one's up for grabs and picked.
Gets a block to the right side. Got another block. Just flushed out. He's sacked at the 35-yard line. That's got him out in the open. Makes the catch. Touchdown, Tampa Bay.
The first franchise in the history of the NFL who will play in the Super Bowl in its home stadium.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a second Super Bowl title in franchise history. To hold Breeze, Rodgers, and Mahomes at bay. Has it ever been harder? Never.
We're going for 2. All right, we're going for 2, and we ain't stopping.
They had systematically found a way to bring back the players that they wanted to bring back.
It is kind of scary when you think about what they could do.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Frankly Speaking Sports. Oh, let me go ahead and make sure I turn this off some of the volume for some reason. Stay with me one sec, folks.
Hey, the camera is staying up here. This is not the second date.
Okay, there we are. Thank you. Well, something is going on here.
Tom Brady's just about done. He is going to fall off a cliff.
Stay with me one sec, folks. There we go. Okay, thank you so much for joining us on Frankly Speaking Sports. I apologize about that little interruption there. For some reason, we had some backlash from another network, but we're happy to be with you today. We are on several different platforms today. We're actually coming live today on Zodiac TV. We're going to be live on YouTube Live, and we are live on Facebook on Northeast Streaming Sports. I believe somebody is going to go ahead and share that over to Frankly Speaking Sports and Crew Life as well. So if anybody's out there on different stages listening, if you can please go ahead, share this to your timeline. I would surely appreciate it. Also leave comments. There is a comment section. There is going to be, and I'm trying to pull it up. There we go. A lot of interaction today, so we're going to need fans, and we're going to need fans to participate tonight. Although we are going to talk a lot about the Buccaneers, what's coming up this Thursday night with the ongoing draft, what I think, we'll probably go over the top 5 picks in the draft. I'm not a big fan of going through the entire draft and projecting what's going to happen because there are so many variables that can change the draft around, as you know. So tonight, we will talk about it. I'm going to talk about 2 or 3 picks that I would think could be possible picks for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers Thursday night. As you all know, if you don't know already, they have the last pick of the first round, the last pick of the evening, Thursday night, in pick number 32 of round 1. So we'll let you know what we think, what we expect. Of course, you never, ever know until the actual pick is done because a lot is based on what happens before then. And we will try to keep you posted. Also tonight, although we are going to be talking a lot of football, we will give you updates on the Tampa Bay versus Oakland A's game tonight. If you're not aware, Oakland A's playing terrific baseball, but believe it or not, they are only 1 game ahead in the AL West of those scrappy Seattle Mariners, but they have won 12 of 13 games, and they're leading your Tampa Bay Rays by a score of 2-1 in the top of the 7th inning. Obviously, once again, the bats of the Tampa Bay Rays are not producing tonight, but we'll keep you updated. Maybe a late look in towards the end of the show, but I know a lot of people are excited about the upcoming draft. If you want to go ahead, there's a call-in number. Folks, I cannot tell you enough to go ahead and call in. Right now, once again, whether you're on Frankly Speaking Sports, Northeast Streaming Sports, whether you're on YouTube Live, whether you're on Zodiac TV, whatever you are on, you have the ability to pick up the phone and dial 813-922-9810. That's 813-922-9810. Ask a question. You may have a concern. It may not be on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Maybe you have a question whether the Philadelphia Eagles should go after a quarterback, or do they have that quarterback sitting right there on the bench on the team? It might be a question as simple as that. Go ahead. Don't be shy. Give us a call. Once again, that number is 813-922-9810. Well, Thursday night cannot come quick enough, and it was only a year ago today, folks, where we were sitting down. We were all watching this draft virtually, of course. It was a year ago, I guess this upcoming Thursday, and we were all wondering, we were all predicting. I remember we were trying to see which offensive line. I think most of us knew that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were going to pick an offensive lineman last year, and boy, did they hit the jackpot when they went ahead and picked Tristan Wirfs. And, Tristan Wirfs, I think, allowed 1 sack the entire year from scrimmage. Just an incredible year by Tristan Wirfs. So we want to make sure that, let's not forget those people. Also, this is a weird year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the reason why I say it's a weird year is because all 22 starters, I remember sitting here last year going, I cannot believe the Kansas City Chiefs went ahead and returned 20 of 22 starters. And then on the 32nd pick, they get a steal with Clyde Hilaire-Edwards, or Edwards-Hilaire, however you pronounce his name. And just an incredible team they have. Well, this year, the Tampa Bay Bucs even do better than that. They go out there and they return all 22 starters. All 22 starters from this team are coming back. The only player they haven't yet signed is Antonio Brown, and I think some of that is going to depend. You may see that happening sooner than later. I think they want to go ahead, look at the draft, see what might be available from a long-range standpoint, and then take it from there. So we'll have to keep you updated on that. But that's what's going to happen there. But you look at last year, and there was several guys we drafted after that first round that didn't play as big of a part. I mean, they played some part. Tyler Johnson made a big catch. Yeah, Deshaun Vaughn played an instrumental role. Let's not forget about Winfield, who's played center field for us at safety. So just a lot of great picks by Jason Light and Bruce Arians last year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we're looking forward to that this year as well. But what do you pick when you get 12 players on each side of the football and you return every single player? That's what you got to ask yourself. What do you need? And when you look at this team right now, there is no immediate need at any position unless you look into the future. Your defense next year has a couple of one-year contracts on it, one being Sue. I know Golston signed a one-year deal. So there's going to be some people that are replacing. So with the 32nd pick, you got a lot of different questions you got to ask. Hey, since you have every single position stacked, I always say, folks, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion. Some of you like it. Some of you don't like it. And we'll take it from there. But when you go ahead and look at this team and you want to continue winning, even the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year, the reason why they won because of the defense. Yes, you can say Tom Brady's name over and over and over and over again. Yes, his leadership, his personality, everything he does about winning has played an instrumental part in us winning the Super Bowl. But the facts are the facts, and what won it in the playoffs for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year was that unbelievable step-up-in-your-face defense that came around in the playoffs. So when you look at this, what wins ball games? And the answer is simple: defense. So what do you go after? It's real simple in my opinion, but I think people are making it more difficult than it needs to be. And when you look at this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, at the end of the day, the answer is, I'm sorry, as you see me peeking over at the Tampa Bay Rays game, as there's a challenge in that game. So, I'm trying to watch both things, so I apologize, folks. But you go ahead and you look at it, and you got to go after defense. When they come to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and they go with the 32nd pick of the first round, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select, it's got to be the best defensive player that is left on the board. There's no if, and, or buts. There is no question about it. If you win with defense, you're going to lose some defensive players next year possibly. You have to go after the best defensive players. And we're going to talk about a couple of those players who I think really have a good shot or that I feel will go after. The second one is going to be that. But we're also going to talk about an offensive player that if for some reason at number 32, a certain person is available, that maybe they should go after him. Once again, want to remind everybody listening on different platforms that you can call us on our Frankly Speaking Sports hotline at 813-922-9810. Leave some comments. We'll get to your comments as well on StreamYard. Allow StreamYard to use your name. Be more than happy to. Go ahead and read your comment or display your comment. But the first person at number 32 that I think we should go after, if available, and it's a battle. Actually, I honestly think he's the second player we should go after if he's available, although some of the projectors feel that he is the first. The number one player we should go after, the second person, is a guy by the name of Carlos Basham. He is a senior out of Wake Forest, 6'3", 274 pounds, has 33.5 sacks for a loss. 33.5 sacks for a loss over his last 32 games, including 20 and a half sacks. So this guy is a real tough player, has come a long way. Let's go ahead and see some highlights real quickly. See if I can pull them up on Carlos Basham so you can all see this terrific defensive edge rusher out of Wake Forest. Let me see if I can pull that up for you.
Third down and 6. He has plenty of time. It's a strong defensive line for Wake Forest, and they get to him. All the way back near the 10-yard line, it's Boogie Basham.
You just never know when you're going to get your opportunity. It's why coaches say stay ready. And just try to take advantage of it when it comes.
This time, Hockman's going to go down from inside the 15-yard line and driving. Got a running play, though. And this time, Ricky Person is taken down.
The top defensive lineman in the country, number 9 for Wake Forest. Pocket collapses, and down goes Williams. Basham just picked up another sack. That's 21 consecutive games.
He is such a special player. Again, not the fastest, but he works so hard. His hands are active. His feet are active as a defensive line. He doesn't let just one guy block him. You see on the play before there where he ran the quarterback down. Now as the pocket collapses.
Basham lining up over the right guard. There's the throw. They get it to Simpson on the screen. And Basham downfield to make the tackle. Stone around in the pocket and tackled behind the line by Carlos Boogie Basham.
Averaging about 312 rushing yards per game so far this season. And Herbert runs into a crowd, and he's stuffed.
There he is, Carlos Boogie Basham making a big play.
Probably kick the field goal if you don't convert here.
But Hooker.
And that was Carlos Basham. As you can see, real powerful player, has some speed, and would be a great fit on that defense. Once again, for those of you who are joining us, go ahead, call in at 813-922-9810. Get on the phone. Give us your questions. Ask us some things. Love to talk to you. Love to get your feedback. And for some reason we don't answer the phone, just go ahead and call right back. But we are, right now talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and who they may pick. Now, the next two guys that I'm going to talk about, one is on defense and one is on offense. For those of you just joining us, I made it very clear that at the 32nd pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have that pick, and what they need to do with it, since this team is so stocked on offense, so stocked on defense, have all 22 players returning from both sides of the football, what needs to be done is, I feel they may need to pick the best defensive player that is available at the time of their pick. And, I watch guys, and I look at them, I look at the way they play. And one guy, although he did not play last year, he did opt out of the Miami Hurricanes football season due to COVID-19, is Gregory Rousseau. And I believe you pronounce it Rousseau, I believe, spelled a little differently, but he's 6'6", 266 pounds. And this is a guy who, as a redshirt freshman, had 15.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He has also played the wide receiver position and the safety position. So not only is he quick on his feet, folks, but he can handle the ball with his hands as well. So very good at handling the football. And I'm going to show you some highlights on this, who I think could possibly be the most dominant, not only the most dominant possibly in the entire draft, but if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are able to get Gregory Rousseau, this is a steal in the draft. This would be like last year's draft when the Kansas City Chiefs were able to get Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Let's go ahead and see if we can show some clips on Gregory Rousseau.
With pressure coming, and Perkins gets away, but now the ball's on the ground. Miami forces the fumble. Perkins somehow got it back. It was Russo who did swat the ball away. Perkins got away once, but not from Rousseau, who, with his helmet, I think, basically knocked that ball away.
Or an outbreaking route to take advantage of leverage.
Hornibrook in trouble, and he goes down. Rousseau in the backfield again. He has been unblockable the last couple of weeks.
They try to cut 55 on the left side. Cut him. Rousseau swipes at him. Never goes down to the ground. And Alex Hornibrook
comes in and flanks his quarterback. Moore steps up, pressure comes down in the football. It's a fumble. And it looked like the Canes jumped on top of it.
That was Gregory Rousseau. Inside, he lined up over the center on that one, forced that fumble. This guard right here, get that rip. And perfect positioning by that outside hand. You don't always have to tackle the quarterback, but if you can get the ball out and
he's set again with 5 receivers. Akevius gets it out of there quick, and Wilson is dropped down at the 6. That is a loss of a yard. Again, that's the 4th negative play of this first half. That time on the receiver.
I love the versatility of Gregory Rousseau. On the outside, he's big enough. He's got that range to beat
and have fun. 2nd down and 7. Booker with plenty of time, and now sacked by Rousseau. He leads the team now with his 4th sack of the season.
I mean, sorry, he's working on the outside right there. Just gets a bull rush, gets up the field. He's 6'6". He's 260
for the Hurricanes. Pickett steps up and is sacked on the play by Rousseau.
Coming off your screen here, off the edge, just beats the.
Yeah, and what a very dominant guy. And I'll tell you this, Rousseau guy. If we are able to get hold of him, it's going to be amazing. And I'm hoping you all are able to go ahead and still see me for a minute as I try to fix something up here. I'm trying to pull up right now, so you can all stay with me. I do apologize. I had a tape that I wanted to show some of you. Let me see if I can pull that back up and then turn it off. Okay, stay with me for a minute, and I should be there. I am. But, you know, it's amazing when you look at the defensive side of the ball. And these are the 2 guys that caught my attention. But if he is available at number 32, I would definitely consider, and when I say consider, the reason why you highly consider a guy like Gregory Rousseau is that he still has some learning to do. He's still young. He's a red-shirted freshman who opted out last year. What better guy to bring in? You draft him, and he sits maybe, a couple of games behind that unbelievable defensive line and linebackers that we have that can show him the ropes, like the Sues, the Golsons, the Davids, the Barretts, and I'm just throwing a couple names. There's a lot more names out there. But what a great way for this young kid to learn. And before I go into who the last guy would be, let's go ahead. And when we come back, we're going to talk about, I said I would take a defensive guy. A defensive guy, okay? You win with defense. You win with defense. You win with defense. So at the end of the day, if you're going to be successful and continue to be successful throughout the years, you got to keep having a terrific defense. Let's go ahead and allow our stations to take let's go ahead and allow them to take 10 seconds to identify themselves. I know you're on the Frankly Speaking Sports Network. Wherever you are, let's go ahead and allow these 10 seconds.
You're listening to Frankly Speaking Sports with Larry Frank on Northeast Streaming Sports.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Frankly Speaking Sports. For those of you that are interested in the Tampa Bay Rays game, it is now the believe it is the bottom of the 8th inning. Yes, we're heading to the bottom of the 8th inning. The A's are leading the Tampa Bay Rays 2-1. We'll keep you updated. Maybe do a live look-in if we seem it is necessary or have the opportunity to do so. But when we talk about that 30-second pick, and for those of you that are in here that are watching the show tonight, if you want to call in at 813-922-9810, the number is up right in front of me. We can talk about some other teams as well, but tonight's show, I'm primarily, since it is the show before the NFL draft, I'm primarily prioritizing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's who's the most followers are. That doesn't mean we can't talk about other teams. Go ahead, ring the phone line. We'll put you on. We'll talk to you. We'll see what your ideas or thoughts are about the upcoming NFL draft. But before I do get to a couple of the first picks that I think will be done, we're going to go ahead and show you, as much as I've said that the Bucs should go ahead and go after a defensive guy, the best defensive person that is available at that position, there is one guy that has impressed me, okay? And I'm going to go over his name, and it's going to surprise a lot, and then I'll show you some highlights as well. But if and I say if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are really interested in getting a long-term backup solution for Tom Brady, so once Tom Brady does retire, they have a good quality quarterback who can learn from Tom Brady. There is a guy that might be, and probably, I'm even going to say probably will be available at number 32. And a lot of people may think I'm crazy. They may think I'm smoking something. But at the end of the day, I feel, once again, we agree to disagree, but a good pickup if they do go after a quarterback, and this young man is available, I would go after Kyle Trask of the University of Florida Gators. And, when you look at Kyle Trask, he threw for 4,100 yards, 43 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions last year. Trevor Lawrence, who plays in a weaker division, the ACC, I don't think it's any surprise to anybody listening to this show tonight that the SEC is a much better division than the ACC. Well, Trevor Lawrence only threw for 2,753 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. So in a nutshell, if you break this down in a tougher division, Kyle Trask has thrown for 1,400 yards more, 21 touchdowns more, and only 1 interception more. This guy has a gun. He is so poised. I think if you put him on this team and let him sit under Brady for a little bit, you have the potential for a star in the making with this young man. Let's go ahead and look at some highlights of Kyle Trask playing for the University of Florida.
And this for all those cats that I was balling with, saying rap ain't finna get my ass a scholarship. And out from every teacher's motto is, music ain't gonna do for you what kind of shit for me. That's the problem, Nessie, baby, I hate you on me. Tonight I'm gonna party with the people that believe.
And now Trask, nowhere to go with it. So a scramble to the back of the end zone, touchdown. Florida this time, Copeland holds it in. Touchdown pass number 4 of the game for Kyle Trask.
From midfield. Going deep on the far sideline, and it's caught, and it's Grimes, and he's gone. Touchdown, Florida. A pump fake. Trask takes a shot to the end zone. Climbing the ladder. Justin Shorter. That's a Gators touchdown. Trask on third down and 4. Throws a deep ball. He's got Tony. It's caught. It's a touchdown. You said game-changing penalty, but Leon O'Neal couldn't hold his water. Now they come with some pressure, but the ball goes to the end zone. Touchdown, Trevon Grimes. Goodness. Need to score pretty quickly with only 2 timeouts left. Trask going to the end zone. Pitts has got it. Touchdown, Florida. It's not over yet.
Oh, when you have Kyle Trask on that team, you got Kyle Pitts as well. It's never over. Once again, we are putting up the phone number for you all, 813-922-9810. Once again, that's area code 813-922-9810. You can call in, have your questions answered, talk about the Thursday NFL draft that is coming up, and want to remind you all that have not had the opportunity to watch this show on Zodiac TV, Facebook Live, Crew Life on Facebook, also Northeast Streaming Sports. Go ahead and do so. There will be also recordings of this on Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, just to name a few, where you can go ahead and enjoy our show. Love to get feedback. Love to get comments. We tried starting the show on a different platform today instead of the Frankly Speaking platform, but would love you to go ahead, call in, give your thoughts. But Kyle Trask, what better guy, if they did go after a quarterback, would be than Kyle Trask? And I hear some people talking about, well, Larry, they're talking about picking up Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew was a fad. A fad, a fad, however you pronounce the name, F-A-D. Basically with him is he was someone that came on after Foles did in Jacksonville, tried to win the fans over, did a great job, but he is not the answer, and he's not the answer. A lot of people are talking, do you trade Minshew for a pick? No. Once again, I want to make this very clear. If I am the GM, I am Jason Light of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the 32nd pick. If I choose not to go with a quarterback, I choose the best defensive player that is available at the time of our pick. If Gregory Rousseau, however you pronounce his name, of Miami, the 6'6", 266-pound edge rusher, is available, you go after him. In the mindset that they want to get somebody to back up Tom Brady that is a little bit better than Ryan Griffith, who will be long-term solution to Tom Brady when he goes ahead and retires, then I believe if you want to get that quarterback now and start grooming him, then if Kyle Trask of the University of Florida Gators is available, then you go after him. It's short, it's simple, and it could be very sweet at the end of the day. For those of you wondering, it is right now 1 out, a 3-2 count. Trying to see if they'll show me who's up for you all. It looks like Yandy Diaz is up. It's 2-1, 1 out, bottom of the 8th inning, and the Rays have a runner on first. So we'll see if they can go ahead and hopefully do something there as Diaz walks as well, and that'll put runners on first and second with 1 out in the looks like the bottom of the 8th inning. But that's what I would do. I would not trade. This team is in a great position, this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team. They don't have any current needs, which is great. So they can continue to build up some depth with some young defenders who can go ahead and be there long term for this team. So we went ahead and we went over that. So that's all I have on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I was really concerned about their first pick. I'm not going to go over later picks. Obviously, you guys know how the later rounds go. And to me, it's not really worth going over that. Let me see if I kept my picks up. Yeah. I don't think it's anybody. And once again, if you want to call in, chime in, ask some questions about the upcoming NFL draft as we continue to keep you posted on the Rays game as we are going over the draft on this Thursday. It looks like Austin Meadow is up. It's the bottom of the 8th inning. Runners on first and second. It looks like one man away. Looks like Edelman is in the pitch. And there's a wild pitch, and runners will move up to second and third base. And the Rays now have 2 men in scoring position, 1 out in the bottom of the 8th inning as we do a live look in here at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. Those of you who want to talk about the draft, go ahead and call in. We are doing a live look in right now of the Tampa Bay Rays game. Hopefully you enjoy this part of our show. Just a pitch that was outside and low, got away from the catcher, and went to the backstop. So now, folks, when you have guys on second and third, you got to have a productive out. At the worst here, you have to hit a long fly ball to right field. There's no if, and, or buts. If not, at least hit the ball to the right side of the infield. You're a lefty hitter and get what they call in baseball a productive out. We will stay on the game for a minute before we get back to the NFL draft and our projections. But it's 1-0 on Meadows, second and third, bottom of the 8th. Here's the pitch. There's a fly pop-up in the infield. Exactly what you don't want to do. An infield fly rule to the shortstop. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Can't believe it. They continue to not do things the fundamental way that baseball is designed to be played. That's why they don't win. That's on the coach. As there's 2 outs here now in the bottom of the 8th inning. We just went over what needed to be done. A ground ball either to the right side of the infield or fly ball. What's he do? He pops it up because it's all about glory nowadays instead of winning ball games. And that'll bring up Manuel Margot, who was 1 for 2 tonight, single in the first inning. As we have a conference on the mound between Edelman and the catcher. But just terrible fundamental baseball. Terrible. As Manuel Margot, as we continue to do our look in here on the Tampa Bay Rays game, bottom of the 8th, 2 men on second and third, 2 outs. Manuel Margot's up on a big missed opportunity by Austin Meadows here in the bottom of the 8th. Here's a swing and miss on a ball outside pitch that he tried to pull to the left side instead of going to right field, and that'll make it 0-1 on Manuel Margot. I apologize, folks, but it seems like every time the Rays need to do something and it has the word fundamentals in it, they seem to fail. As there's a pitch that just misses high above the letters, it's 1-1. So bottom of the 8th, 2-1 A's. Rays missed an opportunity, but there's still another chance with 2 outs here. 1-1 count on Manuel Margot. A base hit should bring in 2. Here's a ground ball, base hit. No. Nice play at second. Did he get him? He got him at first, and the side is retired. So there's a ball hit up the middle Nothing you can do about Manuel Go. Great shift play, great backhand stop, gets you out. And the side is retired. The Rays are trailing after 8, 2-1. Unbelievable missed opportunity in the bottom of the 8th with 2 runners on, second and third, 1 out. Meadows pops up, couldn't even get a fly ball to bring in the run, and then Margot grounds out. But let's go back to our original, what we were talking about. Once again, if you want to call in, we got about roughly 15 minutes left. You have any questions you want to talk about the upcoming draft? NFL draft Thursday night, which will be, of course, a party going on down at One Buck Place, the Bucks headquarters there off Himes. When you look at the number 1 draft, I don't think it's any question who Jacksonville is going to take. I think it would be a huge surprise if Jacksonville doesn't take Trevor Lawrence. Unfortunately, I've said it throughout the show, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is necessarily the best quarterback. I think he's played under great, situations, great stress situations before. But I think he's an average quarterback. I think he's a little bit overrated. I think that professional game, when he gets to Jacksonville, is not going to be as easy as people think it's going to be. But Trevor Lawrence will be the first pick. So as far as Trevor Lawrence goes, he will be the first pick. And ladies and gentlemen, as we check our Frankly Speaking Sports hotline, looks like we have a call that's calling in. Let's go ahead and see if we can grab that real quickly. Once again, our phone number here is 813-922-9810. For those of you that don't know about calling us, if you call us and somebody is on the line, that's okay. Just hang up. When they get off, give us a call back. Let's go ahead and take a call all the way from St. Pete, Florida, right near where the Rays are playing tonight. We have Rob on the line, the president of Crew Life. So let's go ahead and grab that call. Rob, how you doing this evening, sir?
Good, buddy. How are you doing?
The voice sounds a little bit hoarse, but we've been talking some Buccaneer football. We just did a little, viewing of the Rays game, which they missed some opportunities to score. So we're living the dream here.
Man, it sounds like it, man. I turned on the show, I'm watching. I'm like, who's this guy? Fill-in host? I didn't know who it was without the beard.
Yeah, I shaved the beard. I had to start looking good. The people at Crew Life have real strict guidelines about facial hair, so I had to go ahead and, make a decision there, so I did.
Wow. Yeah, you're looking at that swab there, man. Hey, I just want to talk about the draft. I think a lot of people are looking at, who can the Bucks pick at 32? I think that, I think we need to look at who can the Bucks pick in the mid-round or the first round, or who do they not pick at all? They move back and stockpile picks for next year. I know you're really keen on defense, and I think if you get the right player that falls to you where you're at, I think it's luck. But being that we're in a situation that most of these guys that we're going to draft are going to have a very hard time to make the roster, I think that you're in a place where if you want to trade a lot of picks to get up to get a player you really want, I think this is the year to do it. Or at the same fashion, if you don't see anybody there you like and somebody else wants to jump up, let them give you their picks for next year. And we stockpile for next year, so when we have the exodus of veterans, we actually have some draft picks to fill in these slots, a lot of number 1s and 2s for next year.
And, Rob, that's not a bad philosophy at all. If the player that you want is not available. And let me explain to everybody what I mean by that. We've been talking all show about who we should pick, and there is a beast out of Miami. There is only probably going to be 5 edge rushes or 4 edge rushes that are projected to go by number 32. Now, remember, we only have a couple of guys like Sue next year, who's only signed for 1 year, Golston only signed for 1 year. So it could become an opportunity next year. If there's a guy like Gregory Rousseau from University of Miami who is just a beast, he has 15 and a half sacks as a redshirted freshman. And, you know, we all know and we can all say what we want to say. Brady, Brady, Brady. But at the end of the day, yes, the character, the personality, the leadership of Tom Brady was so important to us last year. But at the end of the day, when it came to playoffs, it was the defense that won those games for us. And we need to continue building that defense so when some of these guys do leave next year because their contract's over, or maybe Sue isn't just at the ability level where we thought he would continue to be, that we have guys to replace him. If defense wins ball game and defense is available, you take the guy who is best athlete at the defensive side of the football.
No, I'm with you. I think if there's somebody there that fits the system that we run, you know, that's where, you know, we're in such a great place where we could actually, you know, we could take the person, or if there's nobody there, we're not forced to take it, and then we could trade out.
Now,
I really like that.
Now, in the event that there is a quarterback that they feel very comfortable with, you know, let me put it to you this way. You have two quarterbacks neck and neck. One plays in the ACC, one plays in the SEC. The guy in the SEC throws for 4,100 yards last year. The guy in the ACC throws for 2,700 yards. The guy in the SEC throws for 43 touchdowns. The guy in the ACC throws for 22. We know statistically who you're going to take. But if that guy that threw for 4,100 yards and 43 touchdown passes is available and they would like him, if they like him, would you pull the plug and go ahead and select that guy to sit behind Brady for a couple of years and master the position where Brady as his coach and then be the quarterback of the future?
Absolutely, yes, I would. But at that point, at 32, so say that you have Jacksonville that wants to jump up, or somebody that's behind Jacksonville actually because they're the first pick in the second round. But say they take the third or fourth pick in the second round, and they want somebody, you know, they're not coming up to get your player. You can get the number one for next year and their number two for this year. Then you get what you want, and you have extra picks to play with this year.
Correct.
Next year.
But let me ask you this, Rob.
I think that's where we got to really,
right,
you know,
right,
play the percentages, and the percentages are, like I said, you know, you're not going to have that much space for these players or salary cap to add a whole bunch of players. So you really got to look at, you know, what can we do to make us the best this year, but also so we don't fall off that drastic next year. And I think you're right on. If you see a quarterback at that position and you're at 32, then maybe you do take it without worrying about the picks because you get an extra year to work with that guy. You know, it's a 5-year contract instead of that 4-year contract.
And not only that, but this is what they call a very rich quarterback class. You also have to weigh the options, and I know it's so hard to do to look into the future, but I think one thing that Jason Light and Bruce Arians have to do is say, okay, this is what's available at the quarterback position if we choose to pick one at the 32nd pick. This is what we believe is going to be available next year. Or do we have a better chance next year of getting a better quality quarterback than at the 32nd position? Or is the guy that is available now going to be better than that? Because we know if they don't do it this year, it's a matter of next year to do it.
Yeah, I think you're dead on. The only thing I say with you know, everyone's saying, you know, we got to get a rookie to groom because, you know, Brady's probably going to leave after this year or next year, at the best after next year. I just think that we're setting the system up to, you could go and plug in a veteran quarterback and it continues. Like, you know, there's a free agent to come here in the next year, possibly two. and he's out of Green Bay, Mr. Rogers. So they could do what they did with Brady and just plug in a veteran and continue the role, and then you drop off some of the veterans that are high priced like Brady, but you replace them with another veteran, and then everybody else. It all fits how they structured this. So they might have a bigger plan that we're looking at.
Right.
As far as down the road 2 years, saying, okay, are we going to rely on a first round pick or a young quarterback, or are we going to stick with the veterans?
And let's say, for example, they decide they want a young guy in there. The question I'm going to ask you, if you're Jason Light, and at number 32, Kyle Trask is available from the Gators, do you take him?
If you feel that that's your guy and he fits the system, I think you absolutely do, just because you get the 5 years with him. So, that first year, possibly 2, he's going to be sitting. He's going to be sitting behind one of the best. But nobody says now, this is where everybody's kind of confused, there's nobody saying that Tom Brady ever took a quarterback under his wing. Ever. And that could be something he never did with the other guys. You don't hear any glowing endorsements of I learned so much from when Tom broke down film with me. They will say, I learned from watching from the sideline.
Right.
But you don't hear them saying, oh, he taught me everything. That's not in Tom's makeup. Tom's makeup is to win. It's not to teach somebody else to win.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people, one thing that we do have here is a structure with older quarterback or quarterback coaches is on our road. We got Clyde Christensen and we got Tom Moore. Look, if you're talking about experience, those guys know quarterbacking in and out. And then you got the quarterback whisperer and Arians. But, with all that help, you think a rookie quarterback would get a lot of great knowledge. And that's even without Tom Brady's input if Tom doesn't do anything. So I do see, if they do like that quarterback at 32, I think the benefit is that 5th-year option and having him play with no pressure. Sitting there watching Tom Brady from the sideline, and maybe he learns leadership, if anything, just from watching. So,
how sweet is it to have 22 returning starters coming back when you're entering a draft?
It's amazing for a GM to say, I know my starters, and you're not saying, oh, we got aging guys or hoping has one more year in the tank. There was nobody that looked like they were on the decline. And the players that we did look like was on decline, which I think everybody knows, Sheen McCoy, that's why he didn't touch the ball a lot. He brought a lot of knowledge to that running back room, but we never asked him to do more than he could do because he just wasn't capable. And I don't think we have players like that on the roster right now that we could say, they're at the end of their rope, and you could see them regressing last year. If you anything, you call Gronk, for the beginning of the season, how many people were whispering, Gronk doesn't have the speed anymore. Gronk isn't doing this anymore. And as the season went on, everybody started to notice Gronk is a hell of a blocker. Gronk catches the ball when the game's on the line. Gronk is important. And Gronk looked like he was getting stronger as the year went on, not the opposite. And I think, as a whole, I think we don't have a player that you can say that is regressing right now because of age. Now, hopefully, knock on whatever, that we don't see that at the beginning of this year.
Right. Now, anything on the top of your mind when you look at this draft, especially in the top 5 picks, with Jacksonville, the Jets, I know the Eagles, the Falcons are all up that way. Do you see any major surprises, or do you think, the top 3 quarterbacks that are going to go 1, 2, 3 like they're predicting is going to happen?
I think you're going to see 1, 2, 3, possibly 4.
Right.
I think the first 4 picks, I think, is going to be all quarterback. And, the Falcons, the Falcons are number 4, right?
Yeah, but they're talking about going after either a quarterback or after Kyle Pitts out of University of Florida, the great tight end.
Yeah, and that's something that I've heard, but I've also heard them trading possibly Julio Jones. And if they do trade Julio Jones, that means they're going for a full rebuild, and possibly they could put Julio and their number one to move up 1 or 2 spots to get the quarterback they want.
Yep.
And and so Julio, to them, they're looking at next year's. I always say nut. They owe him $23 million on next year's salary cap, and it's fully guaranteed. So, and they're looking at, if we can move him and get something, and we know we're not going to be very good this year. We're looking at a full rebuild, and it's a new coaching staff. So they've got the time to do the rebuild, and you definitely don't want to hold on to those aging veterans and 2 years from now saying, you know what, we should have rebuilt, because those coaches are going to get fired. So
Oh, there I am. I'm back on again. Okay. Who knows what happened there? But anyway, Rob, we're running. In of Crew Life on the phone with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to take this time to thank Rob for calling in this evening. Those of you, we are running out of time. We are under contractual agreements to have a 1-hour show. So on behalf of all of us here on Frankly Speaking Sports, we want to thank you very much for joining us today. We want to thank Northeast Streaming Sports, Crew Life, Frankly Speaking Sports on YouTube, and also Zodiac TV for having us on tonight. Love to thank iHeart, iTunes, Spotify, and all the other terrific platforms we are on as well for recording these shows. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you back here Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, on another episode of Frankly Speaking Sports.